0.
Oh my goodness. Hey everybody, welcome back to Two Birds and a Third Football Podcast. Took a little break last week, but we got the whole crew back together with Josh, DJ, Hank, and Ricky. Today we're going to be discussing some Eagles losses that they had on the coaching side, as well as what's going on with Reuben Foster, Kareem Hunt. We're also going to touch on the salary cap situation, including Jimmy G and the highest paid quarterback contract in NFL history. And then at the end, we're going to wrap it up with some predictions, what we got from this season, what we got right at the beginning of the season, what we got wrong, ones that we were close on but didn't exactly hit on. So it's good to be back with you guys.
And apparently we suck at the Olympics. There you go, DJ.
Yeah.
That's not the predictions we're going to talk about. We'll probably end with some. But, yeah, guys, there's kind of a little bit of an absence here, but glad to be back with you guys talking some sports. We got a little bit of NFL news for you. I think we're going to start out with that. Hank, actually, we already had our podcast when you won the Super Bowl, but how's it been, Hank? How was the parade? How was everything of the aftermath of your win so far?
Why are you asking him? I'm the one that lives on the East Coast.
But you're a Cowboys fan, so literally you have
Yeah, but I live near Philadelphia right now.
Well, Ricky, he got classes off because of the parade, so
yeah, exactly. So it worked out in the end.
I mean, the aftermath of it all, it's a lot of the losing of members of the coaching staff. That's parody for you. That's what happens. And then all the people who are talking about how the Eagles need to there's a dog outside. How the Eagles need to trade Carson Wentz instead of Nick Foles, and there's a lot of like BS back and forth, which I'm still glad that the Eagles won the Super Bowl. I it didn't really kick in until like about a week later, until I was like, wow, that actually happened. But I mean, you just have to deal with the media BS and the speculation and all that stuff.
I did hear some bad news, and apparently Carson Wentz's injury is pretty bad. Like they said that he's gonna have to keep the brace on probably forever.
So does Tom Brady.
And always play with the brace. Always.
But
look, let me just say this right now.
At the same time, that's also coming from a guy who has never seen Carson Wentz before.
Okay, well, here's my thing, right? With Carson Wentz, we clearly see what his play style is like. Basically, he likes to stay mobile, but I will say he can't throw the football downfield, but I feel like now the offense might have to... I'm not saying it has to be drastic changes for Philadelphia, but I feel like if you look at what their offense was centered around, it was the ability of Wentz to use his legs and his throw on the run ability. And I feel like at that point you have to rely more on the run game. And not only that, you got to make sure pretty much everyone stays healthy, and you might end up seeing Carson Wentz transition from being mobile to a pocket passer. Which we'll see how he does there.
Well, he is.
Or you can just groom him to be like a Ben Roethlisberger, where Ben's not fast and doesn't necessarily make big runs with his legs, but the escapability factor. Because I saw Carson Wentz, a lot of those things weren't him just rolling out and throwing on the run. It was pocket collapsing, his escapability out of that collapsed pocket, and not necessarily. I mean, he did take off once, a lot, but if you can just groom him to kind of get out of the pocket and not necessarily run for the first down, but maybe just buy enough time to get a guy open.
Well, the thing is, Josh, the way that he would get people open is his escapability.
That's what I'm saying.
So with that being taken away, that would show that would give the DBs a little bit more leeway to stay back in coverage a little bit more.
Yeah, but
instead of having to rush and make sure that he can
Wentz is a pocket passer. I mean, Tom Brady rolls out of the pocket all the time.
But the problem is that we saw what Wentz did this year. His ability to move in the pocket was his specialty, and considering he has and I'm not saying that it's going to completely hinder him. I think we'll be fine. But my thing is if you're the Eagles, you got to be very careful, and you cannot trade away Nick Foles. Me personally, I'm hoping they do, because I'm a Cowboys fan. But
they will eventually either trade him or get rid of him. Eventually, they'll have to, because
exactly.
Because Wentz will be healthy again. I don't want them to trade Nick Foles until until the trade deadline. I think a lot of people are saying stuff like, "Oh, he's gonna have his best value right now." No, I totally disagree with that. I think that he will have his most value right before the trade deadline. Some team is going to be stupid enough to trade a second or a first for him, and then or more than that, and then the Eagles will be sitting pretty right there.
Yeah, I just don't. I know what you're saying, Ricky, but I don't see Carson Wentz as like a running quarterback. He's a scrambling quarterback, but he's not a Cam Newton or Deshaun.
I understand that. No, yeah, I understand. Okay, hold up. Let me explain. I understand he's not mobile in that sense. I say he's mobile in the sense that if you've seen his plays and if you've seen what he's been able to do, he's been able to shift around in the pocket to make a play or a big time throw, and that's going to change if he has to wear the brace, depending on how bad it is. For all I know, he could possibly recover, and this ends up not affecting him at all, or this could end up affecting how he plays. Does he have to stay in the pocket and not move at all?
Well,
does he?
You also have to understand. You have to understand that the person who made that comment about the brace was somebody who has never, he's not Carson Wentz's surgeon. He's never seen. He's never dealt with Carson Wentz. So the whole thing about the brace, it could be true, but it's also pure speculation.
Yeah, that's my thing. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying there's a range of possibilities. Either it's not going to affect him at all,
and the thing is, the thing that Carson Wentz is going to have to learn is and I agree, he's going to have to learn how to give up on a play. There's a reason why Eli Manning is currently like the Iron Man of quarterbacks. It's because Eli Manning knows how to give up on a play. He knows how to get tackled. He knows how to get sacked. He knows he has developed those skills. It's true that Eli Manning hasn't really done anything, but
no, he just forgets that he has to talk into his computer.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So what I was saying is that Eli Manning is basically the Iron Man of quarterbacks, and Carson Wentz is going to have to learn how to take a sack or take a tackle. He's going to have to learn how to give up. He's going to have to learn how to give up on a play.
Exactly, and that's something that even I was saying this, and I have been on the record, and I've said that Doug Peterson has to run the ball more. If I'm the Eagles, you got to run the ball more, because the last thing you want to do is expose Wentz to those hits, which evidently he ended up getting a hit like that, and look what happened. And I'm not trying to say
we don't actually know when he tore it. He didn't.
Yeah,
Apparently he didn't tear it on
I think you guys are missing the bigger story here. The Browns missed out on two quarterbacks, Deshaun Watson and Carson Wentz, on an ACL injury. And if this does affect them in their later careers and the Browns get a better quarterback in this draft coming up, they're actually a smart
or not.
Yeah. And fun fact. Hey, and fun fact, ever since I've been in college, the Browns have won only one game.
Yeah, has your team even had a playoff win since you were a fan?
They had a playoff win in 2014.
And 2009.
Oh shit. Okay.
No.
Well,
yeah, shut up.
No. I really think that I think that the Browns will find their guy, but Wentz is was an MVP candidate. Would have won the MVP. I know almost only matters with horseshoes and hand grenades. But
well, you were hoping it didn't, because then you would have lost the Super Bowl.
Yeah, exactly. But Deshaun Watson.
These are some hot takes that we got.
You can't say that.
It's a hot, steamy take.
Is that a hot take or a high take?
I'm happy with the way things fell, because I believe that sometimes if one thing happens, let's say Jason Peters is our left tackle the whole season. I believe in the butterfly effect, is what I'm saying. I believe.
Yeah, no, I got you. So, I want to talk about.
Okay. Let me just briefly talk about the whole offensive coordinator.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna get to.
So the Eagles lost. They lost Flip, John DeFilippo, really good quarterbacks coach. The guy who was basically driving force with the quarterbacks, and one could say that the reason why Nick Foles and Carson Wentz played well is because of him. But he becomes Minnesota's head coach, and because of a certain snake backing out of his obligations with the Indianapolis Colts, the Colts decided to hire Frank Reich. I wish these two nothing but luck. They get a good opportunity. Reich gets to be a head coach, and John DeFilippo gets to call plays as an offensive coordinator, which he wouldn't have been able to do as the Eagles' offensive coordinator. The Eagles hired Mike Groh, their old wide receivers coach, to become their offensive coordinator. Deuce Staley becomes an assistant coach, or assistant head coach, I guess. Here's a quiz for you guys. Who was the head coach of the New York Jets between Herman Edwards and Bill Belichick?
Al Groh.
Al Groh. Very good. The Al Groh.
Josh cheated.
The zero.
I have my living sports encyclopedia in the room next to me.
The 1.25 seconds Bill Belichick was coach of the New York Jets. Afterwards, they obviously hired Al Groh, the father of Mike Groh.
The GOAT.
And then the guy who I forget who their quarterback's coach is. He was the guy who basically came up with the Philly special thing, that trick play. He was the guy who came up with it, but his name escapes me right now.
It was probably Rocky Balboa.
Rocky Balboa. But what were you gonna say?
Hey, you heard if they're going to build a statue of Nick Foles or not?
I hope so.
They're gonna tear down the Rocky statue and put Nick Foles in his place.
Well, no, don't tear down the Rocky statue, because the Rocky statue is good luck. Every time,
no, it's not.
Every time an opposing fan puts something inflammatory onto Rocky, they always lose in terrible fashion. But I think they should put a statue up of Nick Foles, just not in that spot, somewhere else. Like maybe right in front of Lincoln Financial Field.
I was about to say, put it right in front of the field. He got them their first Super Bowl.
That is something like out of this world.
It's
Hank's man crush.
He's gonna get a body pillow.
I think we made a joke. Yeah. I think we made a joke at one point when Foles was the starting quarterback. I'm like, Hank, what if Nick Foles wins the Super Bowl
and wins the MVP? We even added on top of that, and he did both of them.
But Ricky, what were you gonna say about the coaching decision?
Oh no, I was just gonna say, like, if I'm the Eagles, I'm probably proceeding with caution, but I'm not too worried, mainly due to the fact we know it's Doug Peterson's offense.
Yeah.
I
mean, it's always good to bounce like ideas off. I mean, Frank, like, this team is basically a team filled with backup quarterbacks. I mean, Frank Reich did lead one of the most amazing fourth quarter comebacks in playoff history. So, as a backup quarterback as well. But, I mean, again, it's his team, and for the life of me, I have no idea how Jim Schwartz continues to be our defensive coordinator. I have no idea how that happened.
You're so lucky, because I feel like that I feel like that he was probably... If I'm the Eagles, like, could you have imagined if you lost all three of those guys? Because that would have been worse.
Well,
I think
the thing is, I'm glad they won the Super Bowl. So now, like, losing all three of those guys doesn't feel as bad. Because I mean, my life is. I mean, when it comes to sports, my life is my sports life is complete. But I mean, because let's be honest, the Brooklyn Nets are never winning a championship.
Yeah. Mine's almost complete. I just need a ring from the Cowboys, and then my collection is set.
But yeah, I don't really mind either way. I'm very surprised that happened. I heard that it was because he allowed so many points against the Patriots, but I mean, somehow Matt Patricia becomes the head coach of the Lions. And what people need to understand about head coaching is it is such a crap. It's about as much of a crapshoot as drafting a quarterback in the draft. It's such a crapshoot. You don't know what you're gonna get. A guy could never have called the plays in his whole career, and he could be a Super Bowl winning head coach, and that's what Doug Peterson basically teaches you.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, and like you said, it's like the parody of the NFL. Every time a team wins the Super Bowl, the first thing that's gutted are the offensive and defensive coordinator.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and I think that, in all honesty, I will say that the playoffs were extremely fantastic. There were only two games. That would be the AFC divisional game between Tennessee and New England, and the NFC Championship game. That were not. They were, they weren't like close games.
They weren't
but
competitive.
You get what I meant.
Yeah.
But other than that, all the other games were fantastic.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
which is great.
I mean, this was one. I'd say this is like a top 4, like Super Bowl / championship game that has ever.
Yeah, that was one of the best Super Bowls I've watched in a while.
I don't know.
Definitely enjoyed.
I don't know that comeback from Brady was pretty.
No, that's why
amazing.
I said I think like that game. I mean, like what is the greatest game ever played? There's another question.
The 2006 Rose Bowl, probably.
No, it was the 1958 NFL championship
Shut up.
game.
No, shut
between
up.
the
You
Giants
don't
and the Colts. That was the greatest game ever played. And then last year, when the Patriots beat the Falcons in the Super Bowl, that became the greatest game ever played.
Okay, what about the Rams and the Titans? 1 yard away from winning the Super Bowl.
You know what, Hank?
They were not.
You're the greatest game ever played.
They were not. DJ.
It's a good little question for you guys.
DJ.
Give me your best Super Bowl in your opinion. I'll start with you, Hank. Recent. Okay,
This
yeah,
Super Bowl.
minus this one.
Okay, yeah. Last year's Super Bowl.
First wild card team within the Super Bowl.
Oh, you're searching it, Hank? Come on.
No, I already said mine. Last year's Super Bowl.
Last year's.
Last year's.
Yeah,
What's yours?
that wasn't me.
I'd have
Sorry,
to,
I had to say
I'd have
My
to
typing wouldn't
the
be
Rams
that loud.
and the Titans. That right there really brought me, because that drive and how it ended at the 1 yard line. That's
Well,
never
For
happened.
me,
DJ.
probably the best Super Bowl that I've ever seen in my lifetime. Because again, I'm not even 20 yet. I will be 20 this year. It'd probably be the Steelers versus Cardinals, just off of the nature of the game. I don't want to say the only reason I don't say Super Bowl 51 is because the game was literally blowout then comeback. It wasn't like it was a close game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, what about the David Tyree catch? That was pretty amazing.
That was amazing.
That was a
DJ.
No, yeah,
one
that was a
thing.
good-
DJ. One thing.
That
I'm
was a
gonna
really
say-
good Super Bowl.
DJ. One thing I'm gonna say is that the Titans could have only tied the Rams by scoring that touchdown. They wouldn't have won the game.
okay, but the field goal, the extra point would make it.
Would they?
Extended to overtime.
That would have gone to overtime.
Well, they could have gone for a 2-point.
Or a 2-point conversion. Yeah.
Yeah. But,
Why would you go? No, okay,
yeah,
never
but
mind.
you
I'm not
wouldn't.
even gonna-
That's
You're
so,
right to win the game.
that's so
Minus
risky.
the Saints Colts Super Bowl.
The what?
That was a really good.
Oh yeah.
The Saints Colts Super
That
Bowl.
was-
That
yeah.
was one of my favorites, where they started with the onside kick after halftime, and
Roman
then that
Harper?
interception on Peyton Manning returned for a touchdown.
Oh yeah.
That was amazing.
That was one of my favorite Super Bowls.
And what about
So I have a.
Matt? Your favorite Super Bowl?
Raiders Eagles.
Raiders Eagles.
New Orleans Superdome.
New Orleans
At the
Superdome.
old
The
Superdome.
first wild card team to ever win a Super Bowl.
Nice.
Wasn't
I
that the one
Any,
where Marcus Allen had that long run?
No.
No,
that
that
was the
was
Vikings.
against that was against the Redskins.
Raiders Redskins. Yeah.
Yeah. That was an even
So-
worse Super Bowl for the losing team in that one.
Yo, so I want to move on to it's more so Jimmy G, Kirk Cousins, and like the whole salary cap. So let's first talk about Jimmy G. So for those that don't know, Jimmy G became the highest paid player in the NFL when he recently re-signed with, well, he recently signed, now re-signed with the 49ers. To the tune of, I forget the exact
Wasn't it
amount, I'm
100?
blanking. It's
it was
but I
137.5 million over like 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, a lot of money. So the point I'm trying. So I think the thing that I have an issue with is you have to raise the salary cap. No ifs, ands, or buts about it, because what's happening is that the quarterback market is beginning to be saturated with more and more pricey contracts. And I'm not trying to say some of these quarterbacks don't deserve that kind of money, or any player doesn't deserve that kind of money. What I'm trying to get at is that I have an issue with the problem is like they're giving these people so much money, and they aren't like they're not the salary cap isn't raising to compensate, and I guarantee you they're going to have to raise it exponentially.
Well, it raises with the CBA though, wasn't that?
But yeah, at the end of the CBA. But I think what you're trying to. If they're not going to raise the salary cap, then they have to reset the market value for the quarterback because it's taking too much percentage of the actual team to pay for per year, so they can't actually field a decent team.
Well, because guys like Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees are about to be.
Yeah, it's going to keep
sign
growing.
Guys like that because Jimmy Garoppolo has you 7 games.
In that sense, then they have to raise it at the end of the CBA. There's just really no way around that, unless they reset the market value. But no one's going to settle for that. That's just not going to happen. They're going to have a lockout if they try to raise the salary cap.
They already might have a lockout because we all remember the last time. They had a lockout and they had to re-sign the CBA or get a new one because the contract ran out and they procrastinated on it.
Yeah, I find it interesting that everything's going pretty nice and dandy, like through year 5, year 6, year 7, year 8 through here, and then just recently these anomalies come up. I think you're going to see another. I think you're going to miss training camp, most of training camp with this lockout.
I mean,
I think it's going to have a short.
I'll say this
year in that sense. I don't think we're going to miss games. There's definitely not going to miss games.
I'll say this about Jimmy G. Dude got paid. Paid.
$76 million guaranteed.
Dude got it's 74, I think. But
74, but he could go walk out into the woods and claim that he's mentally incapable of playing quarterback and still receive $76 million.
I mean, it's just
74.
It's amazing to me. Luckily, with the 49ers, they've got so much cap room, so it doesn't really. It's not something that really phases them. I mean, I'm sure they wipe their ass with $74 million, but
that sounds like something the Browns would do.
No, but the thing is, I said, I was the one who was a bit hesitant for the 49ers to get Jimmy G just because of his lack of experience. I mean, yeah, he won 5 games with them. I would still, just because of my personal nature, I'd be hesitant. I mean, Josh will tell you that I didn't even want the Eagles to go for on 4th down at the goal line. So, that just kind of shows how hesitant of a person I am. But if Jimmy G does work out, this is money absolutely well spent, and John Lynch looks like a complete and utter genius.
So, I mean, in this sense, I would have to give John Lynch a grade from this past draft and up until now. Obviously an A. I mean, how you get Jimmy Garoppolo, even if it just fell into his lap like that, even though if it was Kyle Shanahan kind of pulling the strings on getting him there, you have to give him all the credit in the world because he got him for a 2nd-round pick.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's such a risk, especially with the whole injury thing. Dude could get injured during training camp, and then he makes so much money per pass. But that could happen to anybody.
Dad was actually making a point about that. Is that if you're going to rework anything about salary cap hits and stuff like that, rework that. You pay a guy a huge contract, and he gets hurt in training camp. And the thing is that I think you should absolutely pay the guy, but. I don't know. It shouldn't count as an enormous chunk against your cap because, as he was explaining, for teams that are right on the bubble, if that happens to a guy, you don't have money to go out and sign somebody else. You're getting, practice squad guys from other teams.
You end up with a Dwayne. You end up with a Dwayne Bowe kind of thing. Dwayne Bowe basically got $2 million per catch. He caught 5 passes in the 2015 NFL season. So it's one of those things that I know that this is messed up, but I do think that salaries need to be a bit incentive based, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
give a signing bonus and then make the salary incentive base.
Well, I get that if you make it performance based and all, but
you can always
that's going to have to change in the CBA agreement again. It's just a lot of stuff that's going to be coming up in this next year's CBA. But I mean, I think that to think that you're not going to sign Jimmy G to a contract, I think you're
kidding
you,
yourself.
come on now. There's not a lot of people like him out there. He
You're kidding yourself.
obviously was as good, if not better, than Matthew Stafford right then and there. And those 5 games,
he
took a team
you're kidding
that
yourself.
was on the brink of winning games, a team that was probably 1 or 2 scores away from winning a couple games. That team could have gone to the playoffs very easily if he was starting quarterback at the very beginning of the year. You can't
Because he made the plays that needed to be made.
You can't put a price on that. You have to go get that. He made Marquise Goodwin look like Julian Edelman. So I mean, he has the Brady effect. He has been trained under Belichick. He's been looking at Brady for the past 4 years. So it's like something just fell into your lap. It's like getting a quarterback from North Dakota State and Carson Wentz. Getting you almost to the Super Bowl.
It is not like that.
It's
Sorry. It's not like that.
But look, I'm not sure if you guys touched on Kirk Cousins yet. Did you guys? If not, we can move on to that.
Well, my father and I talked about it. A little bit.
Go ahead. Jump in.
We just, I mean, what do you guys think his landing spots is? It's basically Denver, Jets. You have any other Browns? DJ wants it to be the Browns, but I just don't think
my wild card is the Vikings. That's my wild card. But I'm not saying that's where he's going to sign, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Vikings try to make a play for him. But I think he's going to go to Denver, but I'm not going to be shocked if he goes to the Jets because there was a rumor that the Jets might give him like almost $60 million guaranteed. That's insane. But
I think the Jets are just a quarterback away, just like I feel about the Browns as well. So I mean, I think the Browns would be in play with him because I don't know if the Browns were to sign Kirk Cousins, they're not going to draft. They should draft a quarterback, but I don't think they might in the first round because Cousins don't need.
I will tell you that. Hold on. I just think that when it comes to Kirk Cousins, I don't think he's going to sign with the Jets, mainly due to the fact that I feel like his mentality is probably like, well, if I go to Denver, they probably got better options and they have a much better, like, if we've seen, the Denver Broncos, they have a solid team. It's just their quarterback play just completely derailed the season. So
their quarterback play was horrible.
And Paxton Lynch never lived up to that hype as being that draft pick they made the first round. So clearly, they have a deficiency there.
Yep.
And they need they're probably gonna address it like they did with Peyton Manning, just go through free agency to get the easier option rather than try to draft and get a guy. Which
John Elway can't draft anybody, yeah?
Well, yeah, because he sucks as a GM.
Can't draft quarterbacks.
Says the quarterback can't draft a quarterback.
But at the same time, he doesn't really try to draft a quarterback either. They drafted like 2 quarterbacks over that whole period of time. I mean, I think they'll try to get Kirk. I think they'll try to put their best foot forward for Kirk Cousins.
Who, the Eagles or the Redskins?
The Broncos.
No, the Broncos. Yeah. What about the Cardinals? Could he land there?
He could.
He could, but I don't think he will.
Well, because they just lost their head. Who's the head coach at?
He's the old defensive coordinator for the Panthers.
Defensive coordinator of the Panthers.
Steve Wilkes.
Look, I just think that he's probably going to go to. I wouldn't be shocked if he goes to I would say the most one I'd be shocked about is the Jets, mainly due to the fact that I know he's not he probably wants to play for a winner, most likely. And I mean, if you go to Arizona, you have a very solid running back in David Johnson and solid receiving weapons. And
but
good defense.
You're also in one of the best. Now with Jimmy G there, you're talking about
exactly that too.
About the Rams' high-powered offense with Todd Gurley and Jared Goff. If Seattle figures it out, but regardless, Russell Wilson is still a weapon.
Yeah, but that's why I think he's going to the Broncos because the Broncos division is much weaker.
And then you're not. Well, I don't know about that. You just got John Gruden with the Raiders,
and you got Phillip Rivers,
Rivers, and Kansas City Chiefs, and
Patrick Mahomes.
I mean, dude, that division. They just like to beat each other up. I get that, and the records might not show it, but it's a tough division.
Mahomes.
I'm telling you, Mahomes will be the next big thing.
No, he's not.
But I really think that he'll go. I think that he'll either go to the Jets or the Broncos. I think Cleveland will do what Cleveland does.
See, what Cleveland's going to do, and I said this a long time ago, is that they're going to end up getting A.J. McCarron. That's what I think the end game is. Also
they really wanted him, and he would be super cheap right now. But if they really like him,
he did very well under what Hugh Jackson had. And now he's got Todd Haley running the offense over there. There's some competent coaching in Cleveland at the moment, so
you wouldn't know it. You can't see it, but
it's intangible.
But there's front office problems where the front office isn't going to get guys because
we fired him.
I know,
we fired Sashi,
but because it didn't work. You can't play Moneyball in football.
Well, we still got DePodesta on the staff right now. We just fired Sashi because he didn't complete the A.J. McCarron trade. That's why he lost his job. That's just deplorable. I try to forget about that every time I go to sleep. But what keeps me dreaming is Hank's Super Bowl victory and his fake Lombardi that will be hanging over his mantle in his den, hopefully eventually.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys want to move on to the Reuben Foster and Kareem Hunt thing?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, it's well, who wants to explain it?
Same thing. Why don't you go? Or Ricky.
To get a brief synopsis of what happened. So with Reuben Foster, he got arrested in, I believe, Alabama, right?
No, first he got arrested for pot possession.
Arrested in Alabama, yeah.
And then okay,
so there's two things. I thought are we talking about the most recent one or the other one?
Well,
I was kind of giving a brief synopsis of Reuben Foster in total, but
just this off season.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and not only that, like the fact that he got arrested, the whole the first time. The weed thing.
You know where he got arrested
for weed in Alabama.
Didn't he get arrested in Los Gatos?
No, Hank, listen. Busted for weed in Alabama.
Yeah.
He got busted for abuse, basically, on his
domestic violence and having an assault weapon.
Yeah. Because the story is he dragged her across the floor, threw clothes at her. None of it's acceptable, but we just don't know the extent of it. We don't really know. He hasn't been even arraigned yet, I don't think.
No, there's still a lot of stuff going on in this. It's a very fluid case that we have here. They had found the weapons. There has been no update as to where the people are filing an actual case or if they're actually going to add charges or file for charges. So none of that has been leaked. There hasn't even been a PR release. There's been a statement released by the Niners, but they haven't actually had done a press release as in stating what their actual
what their plan is. They're basically saying they want the legal process to play out before they
want the league. They actually want the league to take over this. That to see what they would do before they do anything. They basically
they're not going to do anything.
Yeah, they're not going to do anything. And honestly, I don't know what the league's going to do. It's just a weird situation because it's like, regardless of what happened, it's completely unacceptable. And it's not just an NFL thing. It's like a society thing.
Yeah,
where it happens.
No. Yeah, trust me. This is completely outrageous. But here's my thing. The problem at the end of the day. But the problem that I have with this is we saw, and I'm going to tie this in with the Zeke Elliott thing because that was supposed to set a precedent. Like, hey, we're going to be hard on domestic violence and all that other stuff. So, where's the year-long investigation or where's an investigation going on? Where's the trial and tribulations?
I thought Ray Rice was the point that they were going to, move on from that.
No, here's the thing. The Ray Rice thing set the precedent, but then well, it set that precedent of the like, oh well, the NFL isn't tough on it because that's what people thought of the time. And then when Zeke Elliott comes along, and this situation comes up, then they're like, oh, we're gonna be hard on it. But then, yeah, Jarvis Landry, nothing. Reuben Foster so far, nothing. Granted, Reuben Foster's just happened 10 days ago.
Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill, recently Kareem Hunt. It's just, and people, and I want to say this right now, people think that I get mad because, oh, you're just saying that because Zeke got suspended or because you're a Cowboys fan. No, the thing is I just want consistency. My thing is if Zeke is going to get 6 games, then Reuben Foster has to get 6 games. Then all these other people have to do, you know what I mean? It's just, I just want consistency. It's either you're not going to do anything or you can't just be on and off. I know everything's a different case and everything has its own special things or whatever. It's just frustrating. Yeah, it's just frustrating because it's like I just want a simple, straight to the case.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's never gonna be that simple. You get.
I understand that.
And you're not going to have videos like you're going to have with like Ray Rice and stuff like that. It's amazing how they botched that one so badly. But it's just you're not ever going to get that. So it's always going to become a federal case. There's no way around that because you got to investigate if she's not just trying to screw him over to get his money. You got to investigate to see if these allegations. It's just a bunch of stuff that just can't be solved that quickly. And I think you need to take it case by case because not every case is going to be the same.
No, I understand that. I completely get that. Yeah.
Brown beat his wife for 20 years and got a 1-game suspension later on banned from the game. But, I mean, that's a different situation than what you're dealing with Tyreek Hill or anything like that. So I think you still have to take it case by case.
The one thing is that you talked about how John Lynch gets an A for in the draft. When he one thing is I would give him a B+ instead.
No, and trust me, down the road, I'm gonna.
He drafted Reuben Foster with the knowledge that the guy was, he had.
So let's give him a chance.
I did say he was the biggest boomer bust pick of the draft too.
And wasn't he the guy who got a false positive test? It was a diluted.
It wasn't a false positive. I think it was diluted.
And then was he the one who yelled at an interviewer and got kicked out of the draft, or was that D.D. Westbrook?
No, he did.
Okay.
Yeah,
he did.
He had an altercation with a medical staff or something like that. I mean, yeah, and it's frustrating because it's still no one's gonna help this guy.
Yeah.
The NFL hasn't found a way to have counselors. And people,
it's never gonna work.
Why? It's free. Just fucking the NFL makes $9 billion a year.
You're not gonna rehabilitate these people.
I guess you're not.
You're not.
Well then, society needs to fix themselves because this isn't just an NFL problem. It's
people throw away their careers. Look at Aaron Hernandez. Throws his career. You're just someone you can't change.
Look, all I'm gonna say is on this situation to kind of just wrap up my thoughts is that the NFL needs to provide some form of a consistency in regards to its punishment. I understand that every case is going to be different. It's not going to be the same. My thing is we saw what happened with Ray Rice. I understand that was a huge botching of that, so they had to fix that. What they did with Zeke Elliott, I feel just completely put another black eye over the NFL because if you look into the specifics of the case, you clearly see that Zeke Elliott had no evidence to incriminate him. Not only that, the NFL's own people that were investigating said that the woman in question that claimed to be the victim of Zeke Elliott's supposed domestic violence wasn't deemed credible, yet the NFL didn't want to listen to their lead investigator. And that's my thing, is just, I don't like this inconsistency. It's like, come on, guys, really? That's all I'm going to say on that.
Cool. So I think we're going to move on here to, at the end, we're going to talk about predictions.
And how we did on our predictions.
Yes, of course.
Why don't you start, because this was your idea.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so in my predictions, from what I remember, the one I know that I got dead right, I said that the Atlanta Falcons would go 10-6, They would be a wild card team, and they would probably make the playoffs, is what I said. I do specifically remember that because I know when we were talking about the NFC South, there was kind of like a battle between some of us who thought that they were gonna go back to the Super Bowl and have like a really high record, and some of us who thought that they'd probably have like 10 wins. I think Josh and I both thought the Buccaneers would win that division, which
but we both also thought that without Shanahan, you and I both said the Falcons would not be a 12.
You guys were thinking like a 6 and like 10, right?
No, I think I put them down at like.
I said
like 9-7.
Yeah, I had mine at like 9-7.
I think I had them at either 10-6 or 11-5.
No, I had them at like 9. I had like 9-7. I said maybe 10-6.
And then the other
What
one,
else did you get?
one I could say that I was completely wrong about was not only the Jacksonville Jaguars. I thought the Jacksonville Jaguars would underachieve again. But I think Ricky and I did a podcast with Nick Fargo, who's a Packers fan.
Yes.
And we both went into like how we were like, there is no way that the Packers don't win the division, or something like that.
Wow.
Wait, what did I say? Wait, what was it?
I know I said it. I said there's no way that the Packers, the Packers are definitely going to win the division, and there's no way
but we said that we didn't know Aaron Rodgers was going to get hurt at the time.
Yeah.
So, were there anything else that you got right? Because I do know that I got one thing right that we went on. There was a whole tangent in the preseason and before the season began when I said the Giants were overrated, and I was 100% right.
They weren't just, dude. They weren't just overrated. They were like, they were the most disappointing. They were the most disappointing team since like the 1991 Cincinnati Bengals.
Hank, that's you said that they were going to go to the Super Bowl, if I'm not mistaken, right?
No, I didn't.
You did. I think you said that they were going. They were going deep.
I said that they would win. I said that they would win the division. I didn't actually say that they would. I think I said the Super Bowl would be between the Patriots and the Packers.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, another thing that I got right was when I said that the Eagles were going to make the playoffs.
Yep.
You were my dark horse. Yeah. What else did I say?
Well, I did.
Anyone else go ahead while I think?
Yeah.
I actually said that the Eagles were going to be in the Super Bowl.
Oh.
I just had my other team wrong. But at the beginning of the year, I said it was going to be Eagles versus Ravens in the Super Bowl. Ask Hank. I said it. I straight up said it at the beginning of this year.
It's basically Chris Berman's wet dream, because I know that from like
see, because I've heard him say that before. I've been saying it all year, dude.
From 2011 to like 2014, Chris Berman was saying like, well, the Super Bowl is gonna be between the Ravens and the Eagles, like every single time, and like the Ravens won the Super Bowl one of those years.
One that I almost got right was the Bengals being last in the division. If it weren't for the Browns literally losing every game,
Shut up.
You know, I think
Just one.
6 you would have been ahead of the Bengals.
I think I remember one that DJ definitely. Well, DJ, we do have to give you credit. You did say that you were. I don't know if Josh said it.
Hey, don't ruin it for me, Hank. Let me say it.
Okay.
Let me say it.
Okay, but I will. Okay, you'll
That's
say
all
it.
the
But
difference.
this will make
Act
you.
like
This will make you look really bad. Weren't you the one who said that Hugh Jackson would be Coach of the Year?
Yeah. I said it was a possibility for us to get.
I was the one that said it was going to be. I said it was going to. Hey, I said that it was going to be Doug Peterson, and it should have been. But
well, Doug Peterson technically is the Coach of the Year because he gets to hoist the Lombardi. So
exactly. So I got that right.
But who are they going to give it to?
Okay, yes, I was supremely wrong on that call. But you know what? I think this is the best prediction out of all the predictions that we did in the preseason. When I said, and you guys laughed at me.
We did.
You guys shamed me. You guys,
I did it.
you Game of Thrones me. You know?
I know I
And
did.
you put me out there saying
I did too.
shame for you, DJ, picking the Jacksonville Jaguars to win the AFC South and get to the AFC Championship game. I did say that, didn't
Yeah,
I?
you did. You said
And it did happen, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. But
He did.
Jalen Ramsey ruined it for you by talking too much trash.
No, because I didn't say they were going to the Super Bowl.
I know.
I said the Patriots are going to the Super Bowl.
I know.
He did say that.
But
I
think
But they have a
the thing.
44% chance of making the Super Bowl.
Every year.
So it's almost like flipping a coin.
That's what I'm saying. That's why Tom Brady is so great, by the way.
I saw a statistic that said that ever since 2000, Tom Brady has been to 44% of the Super Bowls that have been since then. The Cleveland Browns, on the other hand, have only won 33% of their games since then. So basically, Tom Brady has a better chance of going to the Super Bowl than the Browns have actually winning a football game.
Oh my God! No,
You need to shut up, okay? You just won your first Super Bowl. You need to shut up. Take this.
I've just become NFL memes.
I also wanted to bring up more. So
NFL memes is pretty terrible.
I want to talk about the draft, and when I said that Deshaun Watson was the best quarterback, the most NFL ready, I should say, even though I did say Patrick Mahomes had the highest ceiling with the lowest floor, and I did say Mitchell Trubisky wasn't gonna
do anything,
pop off your screen. He wouldn't do anything. So I will tell you, if it wasn't
biggest reach in a while.
If it wasn't for Deshaun Watson tearing his ACL, I think that clearly Deshaun Watson would have been the best out of them so far.
I also said
as a rookie, yeah.
I also said the Titans would go to the playoffs, but I also said that they would win the division.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I said they would win the division, and they didn't.
Well, the Browns were going to draft Deshaun Watson, but Sasha Davis said no. So
I thought it was Sashi Brown.
It is Sashi Brown. I forgot him already. He's already a figment of my imagination.
What else? I think that's. I'm trying to think. Was there anything else that draft wise?
I also said that didn't the Dallas Cowboys go 10-6?
We went 9-7.
Oh, you went 9-7. Oh, okay, my bad.
I said 11-5.
I did say that they would be second place in the NFC East. I did say that.
A pretty terrible finish.
It was like I've never seen a more lethargic game between those two.
Oh, really? Have you not watched the Browns?
No. I said between the two.
The score was 0-0 at halftime.
It was 0-0. No, it was 0-0 until the fourth quarter.
The score was 6.
Do you guys know how much my heart was ripped down the last week of the season? How close we were to be the Steelers.
Yeah, well, you could have said that during the beginning of the season.
Wasn't it Hugh Jackson?
I did. We said that was going to be their championship.
Wasn't it Hugh Jackson at the end of last season who was like, we can't go any further. We can't go any further down. We can only go up.
Yeah, but we gotta also man, I was hoping that DJ's prediction of the Steelers going on some ridiculous winning game streak or whatever, and then the Browns beating them, and the game of the.
It was close. All these things were so close, but like you said, it's only close. Only matters in horseshoes and hand grenades.
Oh, another prediction. Well, this is more so the postseason. We got to give Hank credit because he was right after the divisional round through wild card games. I think he was wrong on 2.
I was wrong on the Titans Chiefs game, which I mean, let's be honest.
How many times I say it, dude? I mean, you've been right on your game predictions so well this year. I think you had a better winning percentage than Tom Brady in the Super Bowl.
I think I did. Well, it's wasn't it 5 out of 8?
I think you just had. I mean, you could have made so much money this year. It'd been ridiculous. I mean, you picked the Eagles. If you would have picked the Eagles and bet them to win the Super Bowl this year,
hey DJ, just like Kelly just said, Jews don't bet.
They take the bets.
No, but yeah, I'm trying to think. Was there anything else that was noted?
No.
DJ,
I think that was pretty much it, right?
Did also pick Deshaun Kaiser to be the offensive rookie of the year.
Yeah, so far-fetched. I didn't see an ACL injury. Get off me, huh? Okay.
No. Not Kaiser. Watson or not Watson. Kaiser.
No.
Deshaun Kaiser. I feel bad for him.
Josh
I feel-
sold me on Deshaun Kaiser so hard, like I was buying ice from an Eskimo. Like, it's
Well,
just
man,
he
the-
sold
the
me
issue-
so hard on Deshaun
The
Kaiser.
issue-
Time out.
You
Time out.
got me to believe.
Let me tell you something real quick. Could you have imagined if the Browns took Deshaun Watson and the ACL injury still happens? You know how much crap they would probably be getting?
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I don't think that Kaiser was a bad pick. I think that the way the Browns handled him
Exactly.
was like
Yeah.
was like death. I remember telling DJ, like, when they kept putting Kessler in, I was like, dude, you have to stick to one of these guys. Stop this
Stop
potato.
just going through every single one. But now, how much of that was the front office and how much of that was Hugh?
That's what I'm saying.
Because I said the Browns like all together. I didn't say
Yeah.
Hugh. Well, at that time I blamed Hugh Jackson.
Because the internal murmurs, because I follow Browns Wire.
It's a very depressing wire.
It sounds so
I think
depressing.
that's like they've cut the wire.
If I ever need a laugh, I just go and look at the comment section of a Browns Wire page.
Fucking terrible. Dude.
If you
But no,
want-
from
Yeah.
what they say on the inside is that apparently Hugh Jackson would want something, and literally the front office would be like, "No, no,
That's like
just no."
They were playing Moneyball.
that's the
That's
Browns.
what they were doing.
That's the Browns. That's the Browns in a nutshell. And the whole
The
like
Browns way.
like we said at the very beginning. I think we said it. Like in baseball, getting prospects and like trading like big name players for prospects and draft picks. That's basically all baseball is about, you know. But when it comes to football, like you can have a lot.
Yes, you gotta
You can
pick
have a lot of
somebody.
draft. You can have a lot of draft picks, but if you don't do any, like if you draft bad players, then what's the point?
What's the point of having them? We have so many picks this draft.
And the thing
So
is,
many.
The thing is,
We have in the first 3 rounds we have 6 picks.
there's a reason. There is a
Ugh.
reason. There's a reason why like teams like the Washington Redskins of the early 2000s, or the Browns of the late 2000s, or the Rams of the early 2000 teens, who got all these picks for players and currently aren't doing anything with it. There's a reason why that happens, and it's because these teams draft players, and in order to supplement the fact that they've drafted all these players, they have to take players off their roster, you know? So, lesson learned, sometimes it's good to have a lot of draft picks because, you know, it's attractive during draft day. You could get, what the Browns had 3 first-round draft picks, but if they don't pan out, then it's a waste.
Yeah,
It's not about how many picks you have. It's what you use
It's
with
what
them.
you do with those
I just think
picks.
that we're gonna if we get Barkley,
Don't do it. You're
No,
gonna
don't
ruin his
do it.
career.
I will kill you.
You-
Don't
Jump
take my
over-
boy.
The thing is,
I hope my boy goes
No,
to Indy.
the
No,
thing
we
is-
get Saquon, and we're also. I hope we don't pick Josh Allen. I hope to God we don't take Josh Allen.
Dude, could
Okay,
you
then-
imagine
then
if you guys
know
could,
what this
like,
means?
get-
Do you know what this means? Pick Josh Allen. He'll probably work out.
No, I've been right on these quarterback situations.
Let me
Ask
put it
Josh.
to you this way.
I was saying I wanted Deshaun Watson. I was calling for him the whole time during the draft. I was wanting Carson Wentz.
He did want.
I wanted Carson Wentz before people started talking about Carson Wentz.
Gotcha.
And they passed on him. And guess who helped you win? Ugh.
You know, I will tell you
It's
this.
so sad being
You
a
can-
Browns
you
fan
can have-
sometimes.
I
You can
will
have
tell
Nick
you
Foles.
this.
You can have Nick
If,
Foles.
if you guys do get Saquon, you better make sure you don't mess him up, because I will be so mad at the Browns.
Listen,
the-
Crowell lasted 5 years. We're good to our
the
running backs.
Browns,
I mean,
what the Browns need is the Browns need to continue to replenish the offensive line. They need to make sure
no,
they're
our offensive line is
No,
fine.
No, I know, but
Our offensive line
eventually-
is actually pretty darn good. I know it's the highest paid offensive
I
line.
know,
but
but you have to replenish
I-
it is the thing.
Of course, yeah, we have to have a deeper set.
And-
I think
and
that's
what the Browns need to-
obviously.
what the
I mean, we
Browns-
have 6 picks in the first 3 rounds.
What the
We'll address
Browns-
that in the first and the second
what
round.
the Browns need to do is they need to work on their fundamentals. Because I've seen a lot of their low light videos of this whole season, and a lot of it is drop passes, a lot of it is bad route running, a lot of it is like bad passes. A lot of it is bad tackling. They need to work on their fundamentals. And if they work on their fundamentals, I think they can win 5 games next year.
Yeah, they got Josh
They
Gordon.
definitely could have.
Josh Gordon.
He does. That guy's an animal.
Guy is so
Unreal.
he is like
Isn't he a free
that's a
agent
Patriots wet dream.
Isn't he a
That's
free agent
that's
this year?
every. He is the best receiver in the game, I think, right now.
Isn't
No,
he a-
he's not.
isn't he a free-
Stop it.
Isn't he a
No,
free
no, no.
agent?
Better than Antonio Brown, better than Julio Jones. This guy is all those players put together. He has
No.
superior route running. He is taller than everybody else. He is faster than anybody else. He was jogging on his routes because his quarterback couldn't reach him. If we have a guy with an arm, this guy would do so much damage to the secondaries. It's ridiculous. It's
But
ridiculous.
I
Look
think-
at some of his highlights, and you'll see that this man is an animal.
Okay.
But at the
I-
same time,
DJ went a little far. I think that Josh Gordon's good. We don't have enough to show that he's the best in the league
But
right now.
at the same time, you've seen these teams that have great wide receivers and they don't play well, and the team doesn't play well. So it's not just about one wide receiver; it's about the supporting cast.
Oh,
It's
obviously.
about
Because-
it's about whether
because-
your backup wide receivers can catch. It's about whether
Yeah,
Corey Coleman.
But this
can
guy is
catch
a
an
double
easy
team
pass in his
automatic.
hand.
So you're taking one guy out of the box, which will help your running game in that sense. He's a guy that will affect the offense to where he makes others better.
Yeah, but
Let me tell you something.
But a lot of that too is your running backs did fumble a lot this year.
Look,
So
I'm
I
not.
know
I'm,
the Browns are terrible. I get that.
Let's just
I'm not.
We want
I'm
the
not-
Browns, but we want the Browns to be good. This is like we thought it was.
I
funny.
know.
We
You
think
guys
it was-
actually picked them to win.
We thought it was.
You guys all did.
Like the Browns are so bad that you just feel bad for them. You feel bad for their fans. You feel bad for like Joe Thomas and like Isaiah Crowell and all these players that have been decent for them. But
at least they have the Cavs.
at least you have the Cavs, right? You guys should get LeBron to play for you guys.
Bro, LeBron would take him to like 8 straight Super Bowls.
Yeah.
He'd be the tight end. That's all we'll need.
Not one, not
You know
two,
what? No,
not
because
three.
he'd be too soft, dude. He couldn't play tight end. He'd have to play
You have to play wide receiver.
wide receiver. Yeah. And he would just be a manimal, too.
He could play any position on the football field.
No,
He
because
couldn't-
he's
he
soft.
couldn't-
Kidding.
He couldn't kick
I'm kidding.
or punt.
Guys.
So do you want to, DJ? Do you want to quickly, because we got like 5 more minutes. Do you want to discuss?
I know. So I think that's a perfect time to but one thing I want to talk about real quick, guys, is I think that this apathetic year for the Winter Games is pretty astounding. I don't think I've ever had Summer Games, Winter Games have this little of advertising and this basically like an anemic feeling for it. Nobody really cares after the snowboarding events or.
I think people are pissed because now they can't watch their favorite shows. All those NBC shows that are really good, like SVU and This Is Us. Like people would rather be watching that than the Olympics. That's how I feel.
But isn't that a problem?
Wow.
Jesus, like how fucking
Wow.
cynical was that?
Jesus.
Kelly feels
Look.
the same way.
Look, let
Aren't
me
we
put it
supposed
to you
to
this
like
way.
show business?
What?
Oh my god. Here's my thing on the Olympics, right? I'm more of a Summer Olympics guy. I've been more into those sports as opposed to the winter ones, but that doesn't mean like I don't pay attention. It's just and I think like what is it? Like the US is like
We're like fourth or
in total medals. We're like 4th in total medals, right?
Yep.
And like now obviously people need to understand that the United States is more of a summer right now. They're more of a summer Olympic team as opposed to a winter Olympic
Norway?
team. Or as opposed to a Norway or a Canada or a Germany. But look, these athletes, it's amazing like a time to come together and just watch people from across the world do what they do. And it's just and here's the problem that I want to I'm sorry, I don't want to like make this political, but the problem that I have I hate it when people make it political. That's what I'm trying to get at. Is that I watch the Olympics to see what people can do. I don't care what X president is saying about X president. or what this person said about this person's country.
I don't want to go to the White House, and then okay, fine.
You go anyway. But no. At the end of the day, look,
or you don't win any medals at all, so you don't go to the White House.
What did the Winter Olympics do to you, Hank?
Nothing. I like hockey. I like snowboarding.
What about curling?
What curling, man?
Curling's the best.
Okay.
I mean, you have to take PEDs in curling.
The only time I get to watch curling is during the Olympics. There's no ESPN Ocho where I can watch the World Championship.
I mean,
the World Championship in curling.
It's just like I also like. I mean, there are some events that I like. It's just I've been too busy to watch them. It's like Biff Tannen from Back to the Future 2.
So this is a good thing. This is perfect, Hank. That's actually the answer I wanted to hear. Is it because the Olympics are more for us when we were growing up to watch with our family, that kind of thing? Is that what the Olympics are more geared towards? Because I remember when I was a kid, the Olympics were on all the time. I mean, it was not like a huge event, but you would always watch it when it was on.
Everything wasn't
I
streamed.
think you should be a fan of a sport year-round and not every 4 years. I hate that there's just like randomly everyone's a curling expert now. It annoys me.
Josh watches curling all the time.
I'm streaming the World Curling Championship. Kelly, what are you talking about?
I mean, it's like what Biff Tannen said in Back to the Future 2, where the principal was like, "Do I smell alcohol on you?" And he's like, "I don't know what alcohol smells like because I'm too young to drink it." You know.
Look, let me tell you something. It's a bunch of crappy shows on anyway, so I would rather watch the Olympics.
Ricky,
I mean, come on. John White won his 3rd gold.
You will die.
Here's what the Olympics need to figure out how to do. They need to figure out some sort of, every year they come around, stream through an app and then do it like that. And that way you can watch all the events that you like. They're still getting the traffic to watch the events, you know. You still televise some, you still televise the big ones live.
Yeah.
But that's the big thing is sometimes it sucks because if you like a sport that's not like the biggest sport, like wrestling in the Summer Olympics, I always have to watch it at like 2 a.m. local time.
So that's a great point. Why not have like something like DirecTV has with the Sunday Ticket, where you could just have a bunch of these different events going on, and you could just pick from them, and have an app to do so. That would stream to every part of your audience.
And it would, but it would be able to be like, do you want to watch this live? You can watch this live, or did you miss something and you want to watch it now? You know, it should be able to be like a streaming device like that. It would just be smart. I mean, I'd pay for it. It only comes around every 4 years. Hell yeah, I'll pay for it. And I get to watch all the Olympics that I want.
Yeah.
You know, that's awesome. I'm down with that. I think that's what needs to be fixed. Because like you said, Hank, you want to watch your show. You want to watch This Is What Us or whatever it is you watch.
It's a great show. It's a great show. But
it's a great show.
It's a trash show.
But SVU is also good too.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Not anymore. After Christopher Maloney's not on it, it's not even SVU anymore, so I don't want to hear it.
It was SVU before he was on.
I think he was the first one to
No,
host.
he wasn't.
Oh, wow. You go deep. You're talking like 20 years into SVU.
I am. It was SVU before him. He came around like 5th season. He came around like 5th season. But
jeez.
Regardless.
We're soon going to have a quiz show for SVU fans on Two Birds and a Third. Following.
All right, and I wanna say one last thing before we finish. I've been doing some polling on the Two Birds and a Third Twitter page, and I've gotten a lot of like good responses out of it. And I put up a poll today. All right, and about 5 minutes, like the last 5 minutes of this. All right, I want to ask you guys, which quarterback will have the better legacy? Drew Brees, who throws for like 5,400 yards a season, or Aaron Rodgers, who is probably one of the most clutch quarterbacks in the game right now, and throws a Hail Mary like nobody's business?
Drew Brees.
Who will have the best legacy?
Drew Brees.
It has to be Drew Brees because if you look at the context of his career
and look at the records he's broken.
Let me put it that
but it's about that Drew Brees holds multiple records, and he's like in the people who have thrown 5,000 yards. He's in there like 4 times.
Let me put it to you this way: if you look at both their careers, you also have to look at the context of their careers. Like Drew Brees went from a guy that wasn't wanted in San Diego, and he ended up becoming the guy in NOLA. And he ended up, and keep in mind you that NOLA was recovering from the Katrina, and so he ends up coming in there, winning the city its first championship ever. Mm-hmm. And not only that, breaking records simultaneously. You know, with Aaron Rodgers, I'm not trying to discredit anything he's done. Mm-hmm. But my thing is at the end of the day, if you look at Drew Brees' legacy, both of them together, Drew Brees' legacy outweighs Aaron Rodgers based off of the fact of the context of what occurred during their careers. So, I'm not trying to knock on Aaron Rodgers. I think he's, in my opinion, he's better than Brett Favre.
You guys are whoa, hold on there. You guys are forgetting in 2008 the great cheese crisis in Wisconsin. I know you're talking about this, Hurricane Katrina, but the cheese crisis was happening. There's mold on everything.
But
it's growing.
I know.
Time,
it's not like it's horrible.
Aaron Rodgers single-handedly brought them to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers.
The only reason why I would say Aaron Rodgers is because from 2009 all the way to 2016, the guy went to the playoff. The guy led the Packers to the playoffs every single year. And the guy has thrown so many Hail Mary passes, more Hail Mary passes than I can even remember. I think he's thrown in the last 3 years. He's already thrown like 4 or 5, which is amazing. But I will say you guys drive a good point with Brees and the records that he's won.
But here's the thing.
But the fact what he's done what he's done for the city of New Orleans.
Yeah.
I have nothing against Aaron Rodgers, but Drew Brees is so involved with community.
Yeah.
And all Aaron Rodgers is involved with is State Farm.
No, yeah, and he's involved with like multiple hotties, and he doesn't even like his own family, so he's not very family orientated either. So you got to go with the DB. Drew Brees.
Yeah, the only thing the only other thing that I'd put on Drew Brees, because I'm trying to make this fair. I mean, I do like Drew Brees than Aaron Rodgers, but the other thing about Drew Brees is the fact that he basically suffocated his team with his enormous contract, which you could say was one of the reasons why the Saints have been so bad between like 2012 to now. They've only been to the playoffs twice in that whole span.
Yeah, but then again, you got to pay attention again to the legacy of both these people, because Aaron Rodgers sat behind one of the game's best in Brett Favre. What did Drew Brees do? He literally got thrown into the fire with.
He sat behind Doug Flutie.
Ooh, Doug Flutie.
The Flute Man.
Doug Flutie, one of the greatest college quarterbacks ever. One of the greatest plays in college football history.
Number 22.
But I do agree. Drew Brees, I do agree with you guys. It's Drew Brees. But I think that
if you're looking at it from just NFL wise, then it has to be Aaron Rodgers.
When it comes to the championships, they both have the same amount of hardware, and I think Aaron Rodgers can win another one. I don't know about Drew Brees.
I don't know. I gotta wait.
He can win another one, but I don't think it's going to be with Green Bay.
You don't.
I gotta wait to see what happens after this year.
I think the Packers were just dysfunctional, and I think you saw that this year. I don't think Mike McCarthy's that good of a coach, and honestly, I think Aaron Rodgers has made that team that good because he is that good.
Yeah.
They've been riding off that 2008 championship for quite some time.
2010.
2010. I'm sorry.
Yeah, 2008. 2008 they actually went.
Wrong with Hank here,
2008 they actually went.
When the Patriots went 18-1.
6-10. No, that was the year before that. That was the year before that.
Fucking dick.
The year before that was Brett Favre's last season in Green Bay, where he threw that interception at the end of the NFC Championship game, which is his legacy, basically.
Rest in pepperoni.
All right, guys. I think that's all that we have to discuss.
I think that's all we got. Yeah.
I think that's it. We're good.
Yeah, I think that every day, I think I'm gonna make a new poll football or something else or
Yes,
other
it
sport
is.
related poll for people.
Yeah. Everybody, check us out on Twitter. Check us out on Facebook. We're here. If you want to ask any questions on our podcast during our live podcast, please do.
Yep.
But yeah, it was a pleasure getting back with you guys, man. We got a lot of built up momentum here, huh?
Yep. All right. I hope everyone has a very good night, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Good night, everybody.
Yep. Good night, everybody.